Hello, I'm William Gallagher and this is the 58 Keys Writing Workshop set of videos where, because I'm a writer, I tell you how I happen to write things, or in this case edit things, and then in the comments below you as a writer tell me how completely differently you do it, and then we have that conversation going. This time, as I just said, about editing. But editing is a really big topic, isn't it? I want to talk about a very specific part of editing, which is sometimes known as killing your darlings. I believe, isn't it William Faulkner who said that? In any writing, you've got to kill your darlings. And you know the phrase, it means no matter how good something is, you have to be willing to let it go if the overall story, the overall book, whatever it is better without it. And rather than the Faulkner example, which I think is used a lot, I would like to give you a slightly more obscure example that I think is very powerful, and that's Cheers, the 1980s comedy set in a bar. I'll put a link to this online. The pilot script with a great title, Give Me a Ring Sometime, by Glenn and Les Charles. It's available online. I've seen that episode 4 or 5 times at least over the years, but it's only quite recently that the script kind of leaked its way online, and I'm riveted by the script because it's a gorgeous piece of writing, and there is a character in it who isn't in it. There's a character called Mrs. Littlefield who is in the pilot script, quite extensively in the pilot script, and if you watch the pilot episode as transmitted, you can even see her. She's right there, but every single line she said is gone. Every interaction gone. There's actually a really, really smart piece of editing where, because it's in a bar and there's a waitress, services Carla, the waitress brings her a drink and then steps back to rejoin a conversation. Well, she doesn't in the aired one, but the cutting, when you know, you can see there was a drink on a tray and now there isn't, and you know what must have happened, but you can't see it, and you don't need to. I believe actually that the edit was done just for time. You know how tight sitcoms have to be, 22.5 minutes or whatever it is. I imagine it was just for time. And I think whenever you read anything that isn't filmed in a script, it doesn't seem as good as everything that was for some reason. But I also think in this case, she was the weakest character and she was kind of overused for what she did. She didn't have the legs to carry on. Actually, she was in a wheelchair, so it's possibly a bad choice of thing. The character didn't have the longevity to carry on through a season or several seasons, it seems to me. But I love the fact that she's integral to the script and she's not at all in the final episode. So here's a character deeply important to the plot, actually moved the plot along. Character added atmosphere to the bar, added jokes in a comedy, and removed totally, and you neither notice nor care for it. There is not anything in your story that can't go. And I think sometimes you need to try getting rid of it just to see what happens. In film editing, actually there's this thing of if it can go, it should go. And that's different in books and things. I mean, you don't have the same pressures and you do have more luxury of time in a book, and the longer you take everything, sometimes the richer the material is. So it's not hard and fast rule. I tend to identify as a scriptwriter, so I lean that way. I start scenes as late as possible and I get out as soon as I can. You don't need to do that, but you do have elements that you're really proud of. Just try taking them out completely and see what happens. If you don't miss them, don't put them back in. Of course, your book gets shorter and shorter then, and you've got to think of something else. Yeah, okay, you might not have thought through that last bit, but I'm really absolutely, totally certain about the first thing, and I'm trying to do it on a piece I'm doing now. I'm doing a piece that started out being about 2 characters, and a third has kind of worked her way into it and is taking over. I'm trying to get rid of her just to see what happens. I might put her back, she's too important so far, but that's the aim and the intention, and the ultimate aim, really, the ultimate intention is to improve the story, improve the writing, and it's a way we can try getting there. So in the comments, please disagree with me or agree with me, which I like. I mean, let's have a proper conversation, but also above the comments, there'll be a link to the Cheers script that you can read online. And whether or not you agree with me about Mrs. Littlefield and killing your darlings and things like that, do have a read of the script because it is absolutely superb piece of work. Love that script. But in the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Now take care of yourself. Read the script, but also write more, and I'll see you soon.